Hey everyone, it's time for Good Week Israel, where we'll bring you the most positive highlights from this week at ILTV. Get ready to smile because coming up we'll visit an organization that gives at-risk youth a chance to ride a wave. We'll hear all about the ancient city of Usha, and finally an amazing new Israeli device helps enter the minds of your baby. Hundreds of thousands of kids in Israel are considered to be at-risk youth. Without many resources or opportunities, these kids just want an equal shot. Well, one organization is giving the ones who need it most a chance to catch a wave and learn how to surf, even though they might not be able to afford it. ILTV correspondent Emmanuel Kadosh went to Hang 10 in Bat Yam to find out what the program is all about.
Riding the wave of life can be pretty hard. With beautiful ups and sometimes unexpected downs, finally catching your wave can be such a relief.
Sometimes catching a break in life can seem completely hopeless and unattainable, especially if you're doing it on your own. But the nonprofit organization Hagal Sheli aims to mend that gap and encourage self-healing for youth at risk.
Let's go meet the two founders of this amazing organization.
My name is Omer.
And I'm Yaron.
We are the founder of Hagal Sheli.
Hagal Sheli is an educational program. It's a non-profit that uses surfing as an educational tool. We take surfing, which is an incredible sport. Sometimes it's dead flat, sometimes it's scary. And we use it as a metaphor to day-to-day life. And we try to teach kids that it doesn't matter what was before, where you came from. If you try hard, eventually you're going to do it. And same in the ocean, same in life.
Each time the teens come here, there is a topic. For example, currents. And the lesson what we teach them there is to be aware, because if I'm drifting in a current, I have to be aware. If I'm aware, I know not to swim against it, but to paddle south or north, and then I can actually save my life. We implement what we study here to our daily life. So we think about our life. Am I aware that I am using drugs, that I am drinking alcohol? If this is something that I really want to do in order to have friends, or there is another way?
So for the very first year and a half, you just you grab a surfboard, you grab a wetsuit, you go to the ocean, you surf, you have fun. But then we approach them and we tell you, look, now it's your time to bring back to society. So they start to volunteer here. And then they go for a young mentors course, that's another year. And they learn how to become instructors after 4.5 years, 5 years, from a kid who was on the streets, using drugs, selling drugs, came back to school, back to life. So we have already 3,800 graduates of our programs, and 1,000 teens joins every year. And we have kids coming from all across the Israeli society. We have Jews, Christians, Muslims, boys, girls, Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox. We believe that every teen deserves a second chance.
Elias is one of over 3,000 graduates of Hagal Sheli program, each with their own story and reasons for joining.
I was a kid that used to sit on a computer all day and not do anything, didn't have any friends. They used to make fun of me all the time. So if one thing this place taught me is you need to give everybody a chance. It doesn't matter who or what, and help him and do your best to be the best person you can. My specific situation was my dad. He got ill. Like right now, he has both of his legs amputated, and it's all because of diabetes. And at the point where I needed somebody to lead me, to make me who I am today, and when Omer and Yaron all of a sudden came to my school, and they were there, and they believed in me so much, like I was so afraid to go into the water. I would go like into knee level, and I'd be like, no, I'm done, like I'm not going in anymore. But all of a sudden they would push me forward more and more and more until I reached the point where I'm in the water on the surfboard, like catching waves. And I never like thought a person with my weight, with my appearance and everything, that I could be surfing and I could be instructing. Being a Christian, an Arab Christian who came here to Hagal Sheli, there was never some kind of status. There was never some kind of a label on me. I was just another student. I was just another kid here. Wasn't different than anybody else.
At the end of the day, this is what we're trying to do here, to build a community of good people that want to bring back to society and believe in the good of people.
Israelis are redesigning how blind people navigate with a new mapping system developed by researchers from Haifa's Technion University. The system in place now all over the world uses a system of buttons, sensors, and tones to alert the visually impaired when they can or can't cross the street. But this new system is far more advanced. A social media-inspired collaborative map will allow information to be crowdsourced from users in order to enhance the experience of those who need it. It will also suggest routes safer for the blind, opposed to the regular ones suggested by Google Maps. And now, before we move on, a warning. If you're eating while watching this, you may want to stop, because this next topic asks the question nobody ever wanted to ask. Could eating our own feces help us lose weight? Well, Israeli researchers leading an international team now say, yes, it just might be. Apparently, while unappetizing, consuming your own waste in a daily frozen capsule may successfully limit weight regain, a common issue dieters struggle with as early as 4 to 6 months into any given diet program. In fact, the record 14-month international clinical trial shows that those who took these supplements limited their weight regain to just 17%, as opposed to 50% among those taking placebos. The results have since been published in Gastroenterology. Read at your own risk. Okay, now this next story may make the male half of our audience a bit uncomfortable. It takes us to New Zealand, where new Jewish parents, Noam and Elisheva Fogel, were faced with a huge problem. How could they perform a circumcision on their newborn baby boy, and without the help of experts? In the Jewish tradition, it's customary to circumcise baby boys at 8 days old, as a symbol of the covenant between Jews and God. But in New Zealand, the moil, or circumcision professional, must also be a certified doctor. And there are none who fit the bill in New Zealand's small Jewish community. So the moil is usually flown in from Australia to perform the ritual rites. And here lies the issue. Due to coronavirus lockdowns, no moil has been able to arrive, leaving the Fogels with a 5-month-old uncircumcised baby and a choice: to continue or to wait for lockdowns to be lifted, or do the ritual themselves. And you guessed it, with supervision and help from a local doctor and the community's rabbi, Noam Fogel did the deed himself with all the sanitary precautions. The proud father adding that this is definitely a happy and emotional moment, and that they're waiting for the day when they can tell their son what he went through. And now let's take a look at an ILTV interview with Yad Ezra Shulamit, an Israeli charity organization that provides baby essentials to hundreds of families in need. Take a look.
Moving on now, statistics show that 1 in 3 Israeli children live in poverty, and thousands of infants suffer from malnutrition. Many eat food that is not appropriate for their age or developmental stage. The charity Yad Ezra Shulamit is trying to eradicate this pressing problem. They provide baby formula, diapers, wipes, and other important baby products to hundreds of families in desperate need of help. Now, to hear a little bit more about it, we have Shalom Zaidel, Development Officer at Yad Ezra Shulamit. He's joining me in the studio right now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Lauren.
All right, so why don't you start by telling me exactly how your organization works and who they're providing this help for?
We are basically a universal nonprofit that serves up to 47 cities across Israel. Religious or not religious. We serve everybody all across the country, from Eilat all the way up to the Golan. We've been around for much more than 20 years, about 23, 25 years now. And we provide food. You mentioned the baby program, which was started actually a number of years ago when our founder, Rabbi Aryeh Lurie, was confronted with a woman who said that she feeds her child with formula, but she waters it down to half because she can't afford it.
Wow.
So he's not a man that can accept that. So we started the baby formula program a number of years ago, and we provide upwards of 500 children a month with baby formula on a weekly basis, diapers and wipes, and it's something that costs us a lot of money, but we need to do it.
So before your organization existed, and perhaps if it didn't exist, would there be another way for these families in need to be able to get these kinds of things?
I mean, historically, Israel is a country that the government has not provided as much for these kinds of issues. They kind of rely on the nonprofits like us. We're not the only ones doing it, to be straight and honest. But I mean, we've been doing it for many, many years. And it started like really almost from nothing. Rabbi Aryeh was from a very poor family himself. And he promised that he was going to give back when he's able to, and that's what he's done with everyone's help.
And I wanted to ask you specifically about the program that you have for the holidays and what's special about it, what's different about the regular program that you organize?
Again, it's the amount that we have to give.
Okay.
What's new also, Lauren, is that a lot of companies, because of hotels and a lot of halls still not being open, we're getting a lot more donations from the larger dairy companies of the country. So we're getting more from Israeli companies to be able to give out more in our food baskets, which I mentioned are going to be about 45 to 50,000 this year.
And I'm curious, since the global pandemic started, has the need increased?
At least exponentially.
Exponentially. Wow.
At least 30 to 40% more.
Wow.
And so we're asking people to provide even more help than whatever they're able to. I know they're going through their own difficulties, but on our website, which I know you're going to hopefully flash on the screen, it's yadezra.net. And we need everyone's support. A lot of our donations come from Israelis. We're one of the few organizations that doesn't rely only on people from the rest of the world, but still a good 25–30% comes from people in the rest of the world. So we need their support.
Well, we will definitely be following your organization and the great things you guys are doing. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Appreciate you for having me.
All the best.
Thank you, Lauren.
The ancient town of Usha, now in ruins, was a small agricultural village in the western Galilee, once the center of Jewish life in the country. Now a team of archaeologists is trying to dig up this town's rich history. And to find out more, let's go straight to the source. It's time for Can You Dig It with Anat Harel.
This is Yair Amitzur, and he's an archaeologist with the Antiquities Authority, and it was his idea to create the Sanhedrin Trail. And you are the one that convinced the Antiquities Authority that they should find the funding in order to excavate in this place, because this is really the beginning of the Sanhedrin Trail, right?
Right.
And will you show us on a map what it looks like?
Yeah, let's see.
Where are we on the map, Yair? We are in Usha. But the Sanhedrin Trail are 5-day-long hikes, right? From Bet She'arim, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they end up in Tiberias that culminates the age of the Sanhedrin Rabbinical Council in the year 429, right? From the year 135 to the year 429. Wonderful. Thank you, Yair. So here we are at the very top of the hill in Usha, the ancient village of Usha. We've got the young folks excavating to find more, and this is the main street, you guys, the main street. We've got a very large building on the right, and obviously a very large building to the left. Let's go into this building on the left. Here we are. I'm allowing you inside. Most people are not allowed to come in here. Look what we have. Beautiful, beautiful olive press. We're going to walk in. This is a threshold. This is the entrance. Let's walk in to the olive press. The first thing you will see is that on this side, we've got 2 storage areas for olives. You come in, you put all the olives here. When there are enough olives, you bring it to the basin where the olives are crushed, and you've got the great, great grinding stone. After the grinding stone, they take the big pulp, all the mush of ground up olives. They stick beams in the ground, they smush it, and the olive oil gets driven right in here into this gorgeous little plastered basin, and this is where they kept the olive oil. The most significant find in this olive press compound is not actually the olive press itself, but right here next to it is a mikveh. It is a mikveh, a ritual bath, where those workers who made the olive oil had to submerge, they had to immerse themselves every morning before they went to work, because the olive oil prepared here was obviously olive oil good enough for Jewish ritual, good enough for the temple, good enough for the rabbis that lived, the sages that lived up here. And it's all connected, purity and the creation of food and olive oil is all connected. Not only an olive press, but also a wine press. This is where they threw the grapes on the ground, they smushed them, and the grapes flowed down here into this little canal. The canal opens into 2 little tunnels, you see that? Into 2 nice reservoirs where the juice was collected. And once again, the significant discovery is not necessarily the wine press, but the mikveh, the ritual pool that was discovered right next to it in order for the workers to immerse themselves, purify themselves before touching the grapes, because the wine was going to be used for ritual purposes, and it had to be pure.
Next, ILTV's Natalie Torsky went to Jerusalem to check out a hotel that combines both lavish luxury and history. Watch this.
Jerusalem has long been a destination for travelers from around the world, from religious pilgrims to state officials and even royalty. Today, we're going to visit a hotel here in the ancient city, which offers luxury accommodations and a top-of-the-line restaurant. When it comes to places to stay in Jerusalem, there's no shortage of choices. From boutique to luxurious hotels in the heart of the city, there's something for everyone. But for those looking for lavish luxury in a historical setting, look no further than the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Wow, this is one of the most stunning, picturesque hotel lobbies I've seen so far. Rated as one of the top 10 best hotels in the world and the best in the Middle East, the Waldorf Astoria is filled with uncompromising quality.
The goal here was to design a top luxury property with a very comfortable, welcome, and elegant feeling. That ambience has been created here by bringing the Jerusalem street inside.
The hotel's interior is composed of Jerusalem stone, along with the 4 different styles of arches, paying homage to Jerusalem's history.
We have on this floor, what we are looking at are the Crusade style arches, the broad arch with the pointed end. Above that, the European modern arches. The second guest floor above that, the narrow and rounded arches, are the Western Roman arches, and all the way at the top, the keyhole shape, of course, is the Muslim, the Ottoman arch.
The building's most noteworthy historical element has been preserved and incorporated into the modern structure that stands here today.
This is the rotunda, the old part of the building. This is our Waldorf Astoria Jerusalem piece of history. The rotunda, built in 1929 by the Mufti of Yerushalayim, Hajj Amin al-Husseini, built it as the first luxury hotel in the Middle East. It had luxuries that were unheard of at the time.
Originally known as the Palace Hotel, its initial run lasted less than 10 years, and only in recent years it's been utilized for its original purpose. And all of its features were restored, and it looks the same as how it was in the 1920s?
The facade of the building it never came down. Everything that you see within the building, this is an exact replica of 1929, down to the minutiae, the very small details, the arabesque-style metal railings, the molding in the ceilings, the octagonal shape that you see at the top of the building. That is the Turkish architecture of 1929.
The hotel's design combines ancient building techniques with modern, luxurious touches, creating an aesthetic that meets the high standards of the Waldorf Astoria brand.
In every Waldorf Astoria in the world, there is a grandfather clock. Ours speaks of the history of Jerusalem. It symbolizes the variety of religions. We have numerals in Hebrew, Arabic, Roman, and Latin.
The hotel has 3 kosher restaurants, allowing guests to enjoy a variety of high-quality dishes, all with menus crafted by the talented executive chef Itzik Barak.
We want to give the guests memorable times. We want that the guests won't forget our food, and we have a lot of desire on the plate, a lot of herbs, fresh ingredients all the time. I'm gonna make the 7 species. It's great dishes with a lot of flavor. We have here the burgul wheat. It's wheat that's grown in Israel. It's combined very good with the herbs. I put also pomegranate inside, cream of tahina.
Chef Itzik is all about featuring Israeli flavors, and while he sampled the cuisines of many different countries, he always finds himself returning to his roots.
I am proud to be now a part of the Israeli cuisine. Israeli cuisine use a lot of our ingredients, tahina, herbs, burgul wheat, local fish that raise in the Mediterranean Sea. Local meats. It's crazy kitchen. Crazy to give the people memorable things that they won't see it in other kitchen.
I don't know what I did to deserve all of this goodness that I'm about to try, but I'm super excited about that.
As you see, it's very unique. A lot of color on the plate.
Yes.
You can see the fish with the burgle with. You can see the duck breast with the cream of beetroot, lamb chops with roasted potatoes and cracker of mushroom. And look the color.
The color of the inside of the lamb chops is amazing. That's exactly how I like it.
Yeah. And the medallions, it's like a canvas for me, you know, it's like a kind of painting. You can see.
An artist's
palette.
palette.
Like you're painting now.
All right, this next one is for all you new parents, grandparents, babysitters, and early life caregivers. Because I'm sure at one point or another, you've all wished for a way to actually communicate with your little angels, or monsters, depending on time of day. Well, where there's a will, there's a way.
Little One Care, an Israeli startup, is changing the way parents take care of their infants. Using wearable AI technology, you can now interpret your child's cries as clearly as if they were speaking to you. When Evgeny Machaveriani and his wife had their first child, they were exposed to that horrible feeling of not knowing why their child is crying. Does it need a change? Maybe it's scared. It's probably just gas. Luckily though, Evgeny had the tools to take a deeper look. He was a hardware developer and electromechanical robotics engineer in the IDF, and he knows a thing or two about technology. So he got together with an army buddy, Shauli Gur-Aryeh, and figured out a way to alter missile control tech to work on babies. Basically, what they've done is create a wearable device that records your baby's cries and using smart AI technology, learns as it goes to flash a different color light for different cries. Blue means tired, green for hungry, yellow needs a diaper change, and red for danger. It will even alert the parents if it records no movement at all. But wait, there's more. The product features many more functions, including monitoring sleep and feeding schedules. But before you get too excited though, the product is not quite on the market yet. It's now in testing with hundreds of families reaching out to be part of the trials. But keep your eyes peeled because when it does become available, it'll be a must for any new parent.
Well, that's it for today's Good Week Israel. I hope we've helped you start your week off with a smile. I'm Nittany Manson, and I'll see you next week.